Hello, greetings to you. You're welcome to our channel Touch Billions TV, and today we are actually going to be doing looking at BTC and doing some analysis on BTC and possibilities on where we feel that the market will be going. We're going to be looking at possible buys and possible sell points that we believe the market, will actually have a turning point, right? So we're looking at various turning point levels and the rest of that. So first of all, we're going to be starting with the top-down analysis. So as we can see very clearly here, on a 1 month time frame, we can see that the market actually experienced. So please, if you look at the screen, you'll see both lines, like you see line vertically and horizontally. Now the points where the lines are meeting are where I'll be using as to indicate what I'm trying to explain. Right, good. So we can see that BTC actually had an all-time high of 123,000 above thereabout, so it's thereabout, and currently it came all the way down here. It came all the way down here and reacted to a point, right? This point here. It reacted to this point here at 111 here. So for those who may have paid attention to the monthly time frame would have incredibly gotten a good buy, right? So it reacted to this point here and started going to the upside. So at first it created various lower lows and reacted to that point. So we can say, okay, the market is currently going up on the 1 month time frame. So if we go to the 1 day time frame here, we can also see very clearly, yes, as we said, the market created a high, right? And of course, we saw various series of breakout structures, and the market currently came to a point filling a fair value gap in the 1 month time frame, right? So let's go to the 4 hours time frame. So if we look at the 4 hours time frame here, it's very clear that the market, was to some point, it ranged in these zones here. It was ranging at some particular point in time here, right? Moving horizontally, right, towards this point here. You can see this point here. In as much as we saw some level of break of structures, but then the markets got back. But then we saw now a very clear downtrend movement from the market, and the market came to a zone, this particular zone here, feeling some very massive fair value gap, which was actually created, or should I say an imbalance, which was actually created by this move to the upside. You understand? By this move to the upside, right? So seeing that, we can clearly say that, okay, this market, has reacted to a point here, right? And it's currently trying to create, some buys, and we can see the trend, right? We can see the trend here, right? But then let's not also forget that there are some things and some areas that we really need to pay attention to, which is why we are just trying to look at because when trying to pick an entry, you look at the higher time frames to be able to have a clear understanding of what the market, has done or is doing. And we saw very clearly that on the 1 month time frame, right, the market reacted, at this point of 111, right? So going to the 1 week time frame as well, same, it was very much clear in the 1 week time frame, very much clear. Going to the 1 day time frame, we can see that here, right here, the zones, this particular point that was a point of resistance that was broken has currently acted as a point of support, right? It acted as a point of support, right? So seeing that we are now currently on the 4 hours time frame. The 4 hours time frame, of course, is giving us something way more different in terms of reaction. So every time frame has what can be the reason why the market is either buying or selling, right? But it's more of like a confluence. You're looking at various reasons on what the market is doing, and that can give you some level of confidence to what the market can do. But then it's very clear here, if we can say what trend are we looking at here, we can say very clearly that this is a downtrend because we can see a break of structure here. We can also see another break of structure here, which can also confirm a change of character. You get me? So a break of structure here, which is the first break of structure here, another break of structure here. This can confirm a change of character. Now, in as much as the market has reacted at this particular zone, we can also see some fair value gaps at this point. So let's go to the 2 hours time frame. The 2 hours time frame to be able to have even much more clearer understanding. So in the 2 hours time frame, here, we can boldly say that, oh, let me make this more bold and clearer. So we can boldly say that the market has first of all filled a zone here. Yeah, market has actually filled a zone, this point, the first fair value gap, another fair value gap here, right? Another fair value gap here. Then, of course, the market, is trying to go up, right? It's trying to go up. So now, what are we trying to see in terms of what are the entries? We're looking at possible entries that we're seeing that the markets can come to. Now, if we see here, this is the point. This is the very point here this market got to, right? So this is a horizontal line. This is the very point this market got to and reacted, which we saw in the higher time frames, right, as a point of support. And now the market is currently in a zone of 114 here, 114, right? Good. Now, what are the possible entries that we're looking at? Now, let's go to the lower time frame of 1 hour and look at possible entry zones. Now, before we do that, we are so sure that the market will still come to this particular zone. Hold on, please. Let me take it up a little. The market will still come to this zone here because we still have an imbalance around this point here, right? And also, we also have an OB here around this region, right? So we are looking at a possible point whereby the market will come to this point, which is around 109, right? So this is like a possible point here that we're looking at, and there's some level of liquidity below here, this point. So, but let's just mark it out like this. So there's some level of liquidity below this point. Let's drag it all the way down, right? So this is like a future buy point that we're actually going to be looking at. But then let's now look at what is possible. Now, if we go to what is happening currently in the market, we can see that the market is actually trying to create an uptrend. But then we know that there was a break of structure at this point, which is giving us an indication that, oh, this market would clearly come down here. There's a break of structure at this point, which is giving us a clear understanding that there's a tendency of this market coming down, right? But then we've seen also the market coming and doing a break of structure at this point here as well too. A break of structure at this point here. Whereas we've seen the market and it has failed to break the previous lows. This previous lows here. It has failed to break this previous low here, right? So, which is a very significant low. But then we can see that the market is trying to either break the low or go up, right? But then what are we looking at here? We're looking at the tendency, a very good point where we are saying that this market can come to, if there's a massive buy order, we're looking at this zone here, this zone. This is a zone where the market can react to massively, right? Because this was the beginning of the massive move to the downside. And of course, there are a series of break of structures. There was a break of structure here, right? There was a break of structure here. And also, there was another break of structure at this particular zone here, right? There was another break of structure at this particular zone here, right? So, as we know, trading is all about patience, right? Trading is all about patience, and we need to be able to pay attention to various zones. Now, another point we can be able to look out for, which can be broken, like can really be broken, right? Another point we can really look out for, which can be broken, is this point here, right? Is this point here, but we're going to look at it in the lower time frame and see the tendency of this particular zone. So let's go to the lower time frame and see the tendency of this particular zone. Okay, to some extent it can be viable, right? Here it can be viable. So the market can come and react at this particular zone, right? There's a clear fair value gap and an OB. So the market can a short sell, right? The market can come and react at this zone. This is like a short sell here. This is like a short sell here, to go to the downside. But then if the market does not hold here, then we're looking at it coming to this very, very up point here, right? So, but then this is like the closest range that we can be looking at in terms of a sell, right? This is like the closest range we can be looking at in terms of what a sell, right? And markets coming down to this previous low here, right? So this is what I'm seeing in BTC, right? And of course, we're looking at a possible buy below here at this zone. We're looking at a possible sell from this zone and also possible sell from this other zone. So here, this point here, the first point, the sell below here and all the way at the top here. So this is various zones that we can really pay massive attention to, right? These are various zones that we can pay massive attention. So this is like the projection on BTC here, various breakout structures all the way to the downside. We can see that breakout structures, another breakout structure. So this is a very good zone I am looking at here, the first point. And if it breaks this point, then of course we're looking at the point at the top. But if it breaks this point and come down, then we're looking at a buy from this point below here, here, right, around 109 thereabouts here. Let me just put this here for a more clearer spot here. Yeah, so that is that. So fingers crossed, and let's get to see what the market has for us. So thank you very much. If you got value, do well to subscribe to the channel, or turn on the notification button. Leave a comment if you have a contribution, or yes, a contribution and all that. Thank you.